This is an interesting novel. In college, Noah fell for someone he was never meant to love, his straight best friend, Miles. Every day, Miles clung to him, whispering baby like it was just another joke between brothers. But for Noah, it wasn't funny, it was torture. Because behind every teasing smile, every careless touch, hid a truth he could never say aloud. The straight guy who called me baby isn't just a story about unrequited love. It's about the thin line between friendship and something more, about confusion, denial, and the slow, painful realization that maybe, just maybe, the one you love might love you back. Tender, funny, and heartbreakingly real. This is a story about two boys who blur the boundaries of love and friendship until neither of them knows where one ends and the other begins. Now, let's begin.
The person I secretly liked was straight, yet he hugged me every day, calling me baby. No matter how many times I told him to stop, he wouldn't listen. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't bend him. Afraid he might actually get the wrong idea, I had no choice but to pull away. But the next time he wrapped himself around me again, whispering, baby, in that sticky sweet tone, I said coldly, can you please stop calling me that? I don't like it. You're ruining my chances of finding a real boyfriend, you know. He actually kept his distance after that, but when I agreed to go out with a junior from school, he pinned me against the wall and said, so you don't like baby, huh? Then how about wifey? Baby, have you had lunch? Why didn't you wait for me today? When Miles came over again, trying to lean on me like he always did, I instinctively raised a hand to block his face, afraid he'd actually press himself against me. He was obviously not happy about my reaction. He started whining, accusing me of losing interest. You never used to treat me like this. Did that little flirt outside steal your heart or something? I could only stare at him helplessly. 6'2", broad shoulders, and still capable of pouting like a kid. And somehow it didn't even look ridiculous on him. It's not that, I said. You had class this morning. I didn't. Am I supposed to wait for you before I eat? Why not? Why should I? Because I wait for you every day. I sighed. Our roommate Nero clearly couldn't stand Miles's nonsense anymore. Miles, seriously, Nero said, you're sure you're not dating Noah? You cling to him 24/7. No one's gonna believe you're not together. Miles froze like a cat whose tail had just been stepped on. He instantly jumped away from me, and when his warmth left my shoulder, I suddenly felt a pang of disappointment. What do you mean dating? He shot back. I'm straight. Like, iron straight. You guys just have dirty minds. Noah and I are just good friends, alright? I watched him defend himself loudly. It wasn't even the first time this had happened. No matter how many times I told him to stop, he never listened. At first, I'll admit, I did have thoughts I shouldn't have had when Miles acted like that. After all, with that face and that body, he was basically the dream guy in our circle. But the sad part was, Miles really was straight. Hopelessly, unshakably straight. Every ambiguous touch of his was, in his mind, nothing more than a joke between bros. If he were even a little bit gay, he'd never act that way. And he still hadn't figured out my orientation. That was complicated. Nero rolled his eyes. Miles, you seriously believe what you just said? Come on. I've never seen any straight bros calling each other baby every 5 minutes. I silently gave Nero a thumbs up, then waited for Miles's comeback. But he just stood there, ears red, completely speechless. For a second, I thought maybe, just maybe, he'd realized something. But then he turned around, wrapped his arm around my neck, leaned against me again, and said, you're just jealous, Nero. Jealous that Noah and I are so close and you're not. That's why you're trying to ruin our beautiful friendship. Nero and I both stared at him in disbelief. His logic was so bizarre I almost admired it. And at that moment, I finally understood why, after all these years of secretly liking him, Miles never noticed my feelings. Even if he did, he'd probably find a way to explain it away. Nero gave up with a wave and went back to his desk. Miles turned back to me, lowering his voice. Baby, don't listen to him, okay? He's just jealous of what we have. Promise you won't believe a word he says. I brushed his arm off my shoulder and climbed into bed without a word. Of course, he climbed up right after me. He lay beside me, just like every night, and said softly, good night, baby. I was already in a bad mood, and that only made it worse. You can't straighten him out, and you can't get rid of him either. What was I supposed to do? Straight guys had no sense of boundaries, Miles especially. Every time I was near him, I didn't even know where to look. He'd change clothes right in front of me without a care in the world. And now, hearing him call me baby again, I wanted to grab him by the collar and yell, if you don't mean it, then stop calling me that. But I couldn't. If I said that, even someone as oblivious as Miles would realize I liked him. And with 2 years of college left, there was no way to change dorms now. We'd be seeing each other every single day. I'd go insane. I'd liked Miles since freshman year, since the very first week, actually. But he'd always been straight, so I never thought about confessing. I figured I'd just quietly crush on him through these 4 years and be done with it. But 2 months after we met, Miles started clinging to me like a giant golden retriever. Somehow my name turned into baby along the way. I tried to stop him, tried to put some distance between us. But the moment I did, he'd come right back, like a puppy afraid of being abandoned. There was no escaping him. So I thought, fine, maybe I'll try to make him fall for me. But this guy, he was a solid, unshakable straight man. Every flirty move I made, he took as a joke. If anything, his actions were even more suggestive than mine. Sharing showers, swapping clothes, leaning on me for no reason at all. That was just who Miles was. So after 2 months of trying, I gave up. Because before I could ever turn with him, he was going to drive me crazy first. Damn straight guy. He had no idea how hard it was for me every time he called me baby. My knees literally went weak. It was torture. I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. Only when it was nearly dawn did I finally start drifting off. And the first thing I heard the next morning was his cheerful voice. Morning, baby. Everything I'd built up yesterday, every ounce of self-control, gone. Completely gone. Nero patted my shoulder with a look of pity. I sighed, nodded back. Morning. Miles, as usual, was full of energy, chattering beside me about which new restaurant to try for lunch and what bands were playing at the campus music festival that night. By the time he finished planning our entire day, my head was spinning. Just then, Nero wandered over and said quietly, Miles, if you're going to keep clinging to Noah like this, what will you do when he actually starts dating someone? What if his boyfriend gets jealous and tells him to cut ties with you? Such a direct question. And yet, when I heard it, I couldn't help feeling touched. Nero was the only one who knew I had a crush on Miles, but instead of telling him, he helped me hide it. Sometimes, he'd even drop subtle hints to Miles for me. After all, if we waited for Miles to figure it out on his own, he'd probably never get there in this lifetime. Both Nero and I looked at Miles expectantly. Sure enough, he froze for a second, as if he was actually thinking about the question. Our eyes met, Nero's and mine, and I could almost feel the spark of hope and excitement between us. I say, is he finally realizing it? Nero says, he's finally realizing it. Miles, Noah, fall in love? That's impossible. He doesn't like girls, and he doesn't like guys either. He only loves his books. There's no way he'd date anyone. So your whole hypothetical doesn't even make sense. Perfect. Just perfect. Can someone please take this idiot away? I really didn't want to look at him right then. Nero's expression went through about 5 stages of disbelief before he just sighed and shrugged at me. We'd done our best. Either Miles understood everything and was pretending not to, or he was genuinely that oblivious. Honestly, the second option seemed far more likely. After Nero left for class, Miles and I walked toward ours at a lazy pace. He kept chattering the whole way. Baby, you're not gonna date anyone, right? You don't have a crush on someone, do you? I mean, I've never seen you get close to anyone. Then he added, but if you do fall for someone, you've gotta tell me. I gave him a side glance. Tell you, and then you'll move over so there's space for them next to me. Miles stopped walking and looked at me seriously. No, I can let her join us. I don't mind the 3 of us eating together, but I hope your girlfriend won't mind me still calling you baby. I stared at him, speechless. What on earth was I expecting? Did I really think he'd suddenly become self-aware? Come on, Noah, stop dreaming. To him, you're just a buddy. If it were anyone else, he'd still be just as clingy, still calling them baby. It has nothing to do with love, none at all. I took a deep breath, trying not to lose my temper. That's what it's like, having a crush on a straight guy. If your heart's not strong enough, you'll probably die of frustration before you die of heartbreak. By the time we reached class, Miles was still going on and on. I was so done with it. Maybe it was just pent-up irritation, or maybe I couldn't stand how cluelessly confident he looked. Either way, once I sat down, I turned to him and said seriously, Nero's right. I am thinking about dating, and I'm telling you now, if I do get into a relationship, I won't let you come between us. What? Miles's voice rose instantly, drawing everyone's attention. I felt my face burn. I didn't even want to answer him, but he wouldn't drop it. Why not? Why do you think I'm the one getting between you two? She'd be the outsider. We've known each other first. His question made me want to laugh and scream at the same time. Was he really this dense, or was he playing dumb again? Miles, I said, I know the difference between a partner and a friend. If you don't, you should probably look it up online. Now, can you stop bothering me? I want to focus on class. To my surprise, Miles actually stopped talking. He spent the rest of the period staring at his phone. But judging by his expression, it wasn't comprehension I saw. It was confusion, maybe even a little sadness.
Hold on, here's my review of this novel. You know, this story isn't just about unrequited love, it's about confusion, boundaries, and that painful gray zone between friendship and something more. Miles, the so-called straight guy, acts like a lover without realizing it, while Noah suffers quietly, caught between desire and restraint. What makes this writing brilliant is the tension, the emotional push and pull that feels so real. You can almost hear the heartbeat in every hesitation, but at the same time, it's frustrating. You want to shake Miles and shout, "Wake up! Look at what you're doing!" It's that mix of sweetness and agony that hooks you in, because deep down, we've all met a Miles. Someone who gives us just enough warmth to stay, but never enough to move on. All right, please continue listening.
After a while, I started to feel guilty. Maybe I had gone too far. He only saw me as a friend. I was the one harboring feelings I shouldn't have. So really, I had no right to be mad at him. When class ended, I was about to comfort him, but he beat me to it. His eyes were slightly red when he asked, "Why do you even want to fall in love?" I froze. There's no real reason. It's just, we're in college. It's normal to want to try dating. And in 2 years, we'll graduate. It'd be kind of sad to leave without ever having loved someone. Miles didn't react right away. I thought maybe he'd accepted it. "You should think about it too," I added. "There are plenty of people who like you. You could try paying attention to them for once. Just stop leaning on me all the time." He looked like he wanted to say something, but the next class started, so he stayed quiet. By the end of the day, I'd almost forgotten about it, until Miles suddenly brought it up again, with Nero sitting right there. "I've been thinking about it all day," Miles said, "and I think you're wrong. What's so great about dating, anyway? Don't do it. It's too much trouble." "I won't date either. That way, we can just stay the way we are now. Isn't that perfect?" "Enough. Seriously, enough." Nero was trying so hard not to laugh, though the look he gave me was full of sympathy. "We tried everything." "Noah," Nero said, "why don't you just tell him you like guys? Then he'll stop hanging all over you." I sighed. "You think that would work?" Nero actually paused to think. "Yeah, probably not. Given how attached he is to you, that's impossible." "Okay, then how about this? Just kiss him. Tell him he's the one you like. Give him 2 options, either date you or keep his distance. That's better than suffering like this. Even I'm starting to pity you." "Even less possible. If I could do that, I wouldn't have spent 2 years like this already." "Forget it. I'll just wait. Once we graduate, we'll go our separate ways. Then maybe I'll finally be able to breathe again." But what I didn't expect was, Miles actually took it to heart. That night, instead of sleeping, he kept texting me, sending long messages about how terrible relationships are, as if I already had a partner, as if I was about to run off with someone any minute. He sent, "Baby, there's no rush to date anyone. You love studying so much, you wouldn't want someone to bother you all the time, right? What's so good about being in a relationship? We already have so much fun together, doing whatever we want. Isn't that enough? Baby, are you really willing to leave me just to go on dates with someone else?" Every message felt like fire against my chest. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and texted back, "If you're so scared of me dating someone, does that mean you're the one who has a crush on me?" Honestly, I hadn't expected any kind of real answer from Miles. I just didn't feel like dealing with his endless questions. But what I didn't expect was how strongly he'd react. After I sent that last message, he went completely silent. No replies, no notifications, no movement from his side of the room. I figured maybe he'd fallen asleep already. Then suddenly, there was a loud thud from the opposite bed, and the next thing I knew, my curtain was yanked open. "Baby, how could you even think that about me? I'm straight, you know. Don't worry, I'd never have feelings for you. You don't need to worry about me secretly liking you or anything. We're just good brothers." Exactly as expected. I knew that's what he'd say, so I didn't take it seriously. I mumbled a few half-hearted replies, shut off my phone, and fell asleep soon after. What I didn't know was that Miles stayed up the entire night because of that one message. And honestly, even if I had known, I probably would have just said, "Serves you right. He's the one who keeps teasing me every single day." That's what it's like when a gay guy falls for a straight man. Pure, exquisite torture. But apparently, my words hadn't really cleared up Miles's suspicions. If anything, he became more convinced that I was hiding something. He thought the reason I'd been talking about wanting to date lately was because I was trying to prepare him for something. Now, he's obsessed with figuring out who I might secretly like. He watches everyone I talk to like a detective. When Nero heard about it, he sighed helplessly. What's going on in that guy's head? Do you think he actually likes you? I gave him a look. If I knew that, do you think I'd still be sitting here like this? Well, yeah, fair point, Nero said, leaning back. I just can't shake the feeling that Miles might not be as straight as he thinks. Maybe he's confused, like, he hasn't realized it yet. I'd had that thought too. But even if it were true, what could we do about it? If he didn't admit it himself, there was nothing either of us could say to change it. So what about you, Noah? Nero asked lightly. You're not still hung up on him, are you? His tone was casual, but the question hit me like a stone. If only I weren't still in love with him. If I didn't like him anymore, I could just tell him outright that I liked guys, and ask him to stop being so close to me. But that's the problem. I can't let go. So I keep clinging to the warmth he gives me, even though it's just friendly affection. Nero saw my silence and understood immediately. Honestly, he said, if you ask me, you should just confess. Who knows, maybe he'd finally figure things out once you say it out loud. And what if he does figure it out, only to realize he doesn't feel the same? What then? I asked quietly. The sky outside was painted orange with sunset. My phone buzzed, Miles again, asking what I wanted for dinner. I texted back, pocketed my phone, and patted Nero on the shoulder. I think I know what to do. I probably won't confess, but there are other ways. Nero grinned. Alright, well, if you need backup, I'm in. Honestly, I'd love to see Miles's face when he finally realizes he's into you, especially if by then you've already moved on. I'll be right there beside him, reminding him, weren't you two just brothers? I couldn't help laughing. Yeah, that would be a sight worth seeing. After all, he keeps calling me baby every day, and still has the nerve to say we're just friends. I've never seen anyone talk to their brother like that. He deserves a little payback. When Nero and I got back to the dorm, Miles was already there, sitting with takeout on the table. As soon as Nero spotted him, he shot me a look. Noah, he said, you should really think about what I told you earlier. What? What did he tell you? Miles practically jumped in between us. What were you two talking about behind my back? Nothing, Nero said easily. Just that there's a guy from another department, a freshman, who's had a crush on Noah for a while. He asked me to introduce them. I told him Noah might be interested since the guy's pretty cute. Miles's expression changed instantly, like a kid watching someone snatch away his favorite toy. He moved in front of me protectively. He's not dating anyone. You're not Noah, Nero said dryly. How would you know that? Miles, when are you gonna realize? You're just his best friend, not his boyfriend. I gave Nero a warning glance. If he kept pushing, who knew what might happen next? I sat down at the table, and Miles leaned over with that hurt puppy look of his. Is it true? What is that thing about the freshman? Are you really thinking of meeting him? I couldn't help smiling at how jealous he looked. You're curious about whether I'll meet him, I said, but you're not curious about the fact that I like guys? After all, I'd never actually come out to anyone before. Nero had figured it out on his own. But Miles, sweet, oblivious Miles. On hearing that, his first reaction wasn't shock, but concern about some random freshman. You like guys? He stammered. Yeah, I said calmly. I always have. Is that hard for you to accept? His face went through a dozen expressions in 3 seconds. Confusion, surprise, forced calm, until the mix of them all just looked ridiculous. And no, it's fine. I mean, I didn't expect it, but I respect everyone's choices. So it's fine. But there is a bit of a problem, I added. He blinked. What problem? I think we need to keep a little more distance between us. You're way too close all the time. And now that you know I'm gay, aren't you worried that one day I might lose control and, pounce on you or something? Honestly, I only said that to warn him a little, to make him think twice about being so handsy. It's not like I could actually overpower him anyway. He's taller, stronger, built like a tank. But the moment those words left my mouth, Miles's entire expression changed. He actually looked alarmed. I'd braced myself for him to reject me, but still, seeing that flicker of wariness in his eyes sent a sharp, stinging ache through my chest. And one more thing, I said quietly. Stop calling me baby. I don't like it. Why not? He asked. I leaned closer, meeting his eyes. Because that's a name only my future boyfriend gets to use. Are you him? You keep calling me that, acting like there's no boundary between us. And it's making it really hard for me to meet anyone else. Then, glancing at his ear, I couldn't resist brushing my fingers lightly against his earlobe. Got it, Mr. Straight Guy. If you don't want me falling for you any harder, then stay a little farther away from me. Understood? I honestly thought that little teasing move would make Miles disgusted. After all, he'd said before that while he respects people who like the same sex, he personally just couldn't accept it, and that he didn't really want to be close friends with them either. So I figured, after what I just did, he'd probably be really uncomfortable right now, which meant he'd finally stay far, far away from me. But when I stepped back to my own side, and saw Miles's face, that hurt, pitiful look on him, all the harsh words I'd prepared just died on my tongue. Damn it, why did he have to look like that? Shouldn't he be glaring at me with disgust right now? Shouldn't he be backing off, drawing a clear line between us? So why did he look like a kid who'd just been abandoned? Who was he trying to make feel guilty here? You're being way too much. Nero had just come in and put on his headphones, clearly trying to pretend he hadn't seen or heard anything. But Miles's voice was so loud, that even Nero heard it through his music. He caught my shocked stare, sighed, and said, "I'll just step out for a bit. You two talk this out nicely. No fighting, please." Then he bolted. The dorm door clicked shut. Now it was just me and Miles. How exactly was I too much? Miles turned his head away, like he didn't want me to see his face. How weren't you? I hadn't even said anything, and you just jumped to all those conclusions. Did I ever say I hated you? Did I say I didn't want to be friends anymore? Okay, fair point, he hadn't. You didn't even let me speak before deciding. We had to stay away from each other. What? Are you scared your future boyfriend will get jealous? I sighed. Did this man even understand what I was trying to say? Yes, that's exactly it. If you were in a relationship, would you be okay with your boyfriend having a friend like me? I grabbed his wrist and placed his hand on my waist, my voice sharper than before. If you were dating me, would you be fine with Nero doing this every day, hanging all over me, calling me baby all the time? Would you? Miles froze completely, staring at me like his brain had short-circuited. Then I felt his hand twitch a little on my waist, just a small movement, but it made my skin prickle. I pulled his hand away and steadied my voice. You wouldn't be okay with it, right? So my future boyfriend won't be either. That's why we need some space between us. We can still be friends, but you have to stop calling me that, and stop leaning on me all the time. Real friends, they're more like Nero, got it? Miles lowered his head, looking hurt and small, like a big dog who'd just been scolded. Okay, I thought about it. If it were me, I probably couldn't accept it either. So yeah, I'll do what you said. I'll keep my distance. Later that night, when I got into bed, Nero texted me. Did it work? I replied, kind of. So he finally realized he likes you? No, I typed back. He finally realized he doesn't like me, so he agreed to keep some boundaries. After Nero came back, the dorm was filled with this weird, heavy silence. Not that it bothered me much. I'd already done what I needed to do. He just needed some time to sort himself out. But from that day on, things between us got strange. It was like I'd been this careless owner who'd abandoned his dog, and Miles was that dog. Quiet, gloomy, sulking all the time. All this just because I told him I liked guys. If I'd actually told him that the guy I liked was him, he'd probably have packed his stuff and moved out overnight. It still feels weird, Nero said. Maybe you should talk to him again. No need, I replied. He's just processing. Once he figures it out, he'll be fine. I used to think maybe he wasn't totally straight, but now, yeah, he's definitely straight. Otherwise, he wouldn't be struggling this much. Nero nodded. True, good thing you didn't take my advice and just kiss him out of nowhere. I can't imagine how awkward things would be now. I nodded too. Yeah, thank God I still had some self-control. A few days later, while Nero and I were whispering about how long it might take Miles to calm down, a girl from the row in front suddenly turned around. Her expression was half curious, half sympathetic. Noah, did something happen between you and Miles? What do you mean? You guys haven't been walking together lately. He doesn't call you baby anymore. You don't even sit together in class. Did you two break up? I stared at Nero. He stared back. We both looked equally shocked. Why would you think that? She blinked. Wait, you're telling me you weren't dating? Seriously? The way you two acted every day. It's hard to believe you weren't. I shut my eyes for a second. Of course, I knew this would happen. Oh, you're just shy, right? It's okay, we totally get it. We all kinda ship you two anyway. You're like one of those couples who fight 1 minute and make up the next. So cute. Then she turned back around, leaving Nero and me frozen in disbelief. Honestly, Nero muttered, If I wasn't your roommate, and didn't know the truth, I'd think you two were dating too. But hey, it's not your fault. It's that idiot Miles. He never knows how to keep his hands to himself. I couldn't help sighing. When he finally snaps out of it, I'm making him explain everything. No wonder no one's confessed to me lately. Not that I'd say yes to anyone anyway, but still, being misunderstood like this isn't exactly great either. As for Miles's weird behavior these days, Nero and I both decided to just pretend not to notice. If we ignored him long enough, he'd figure things out on his own. Still, the way he looked at me felt different now. It was like he was always watching me from behind, his gaze brushing against me when I wasn't looking, and every time I turned around, he'd act perfectly normal again. It made me wonder, was I imagining things? Were you staring at me? I couldn't take it anymore. I turned around and faced Miles directly. The moment our eyes met, he stiffened completely, like a kid who'd just been caught doing something wrong. I wasn't. Are you sure about that? If it really bothers you that I like guys, I can talk to the counselor and request a dorm change. Or maybe you'd rather I just have you switched out. Miles's eyes widened. You want to move out? When did I ever say I was bothered by you liking guys? Wait, is that it? You've already got someone you like, don't you? And now you're just using me as an excuse to move out, so you can live with him openly, right? I rolled my eyes. His imagination could win awards. He should really consider writing fiction. I don't. You totally do. You're just not admitting it. Great. I should have just stayed quiet. This was what I got for trying to talk things out. Karma came fast. When Nero got back, both Miles and I were sulking in silence. He glanced at Miles first, but clearly didn't get any answers there. So he turned to me. Did you confess to him or something? What? Of course not. Then why are you two fighting again? I told him what happened. He gave me the exact same exasperated look I'd been feeling inside, but that didn't stop everyone from going back to their own business. Later, when I climbed up to my bunk, I saw a new message from Nero. Do you think maybe he actually likes you? It doesn't feel like he's mad about you liking guys. A few days later, things between Miles and me slowly went back to what you'd call normal, though sometimes, he'd still slip up, call me baby without thinking, then immediately flush red, and stammer out an apology. It always left me embarrassed instead. Maybe what I said that night really hit him too hard. If I'd known he'd take it that way, I might have said it more gently. My car's at the west gate. Your mom asked me to bring you some things. I was about to walk into class. When Axel called, I instinctively shoved my books into the hands of the person next to me, and stepped aside to take the call. When I came back, I realized it was Miles who'd caught my books, which meant now, I had to sit next to him. Who was that? You sounded urgent. Family? His attempt to sound casual was painfully awkward. Before we'd had that talk, he'd already been nagging me to tell him who it was. Yeah, family. Something came up. Oh, got it. After class, I dropped my stuff off with Nero, and headed for the west gate. Axel was the son of one of my mom's best friends. A few years older, already working. He was good looking, but his personality, not so much. When I got into his car, I noticed a paper bag filled with my favorite snacks. Your mom's doing fine, he said. She told you not to worry, and that the weather's getting colder soon. You should take care of yourself and not catch a cold. Got it. If that's all, I'll head back. I was about to open the door, when Axel suddenly grabbed my arm. I frowned. What are you doing? He smiled slyly. Are you dating someone at school? I'm not. Who told you that nonsense? He released me, nodding toward the car window. Well, your boyfriend doesn't seem to agree. He's been glaring at my car like he's about to blow it up. I turned to look outside. Sure enough, Miles was standing there. Didn't he leave right after class? What on earth was he doing here? He's not my boyfriend. He's my friend, my brother. I stepped out of the car. Behind me, I could hear Axel mutter. City folks sure have interesting definitions of brother. I shut the door, cutting off his voice. Miles was still there, not even trying to hide. He was wearing a plain sweatshirt, simple, clean, and somehow radiating that boy-next-door charm. A few people passing by were already stealing glances at him. I only gave him one look, before turning to walk away. Of course, a few seconds later, I heard quick footsteps behind me. Are you mad? He asked. Why would I be mad? His voice came out low, almost guilty. Because I followed you here. Then why did you follow me? Do you not trust what I say? Or were you worried I came to meet someone I like? Miles opened his mouth, but no words came out. I was honestly so tired of this. How could someone be this clueless about his own feelings? I was about to tell him exactly that he needed to sit down and figure out what he actually felt when a younger guy suddenly ran up to us. This time, it really was a freshman. I had no idea how he even found me here, and apparently he didn't care that Miles was right next to me. He went straight for it. "Senior," he said, nervous but determined, "I know you probably don't know me, but I've liked you for a while now. I'm not expecting an answer right away. I just hope you'll give me a chance to get to know you. Can we start there?" Smooth talker. Too smooth. I didn't want to hurt him by rejecting him outright, but saying nothing would sound like I was encouraging him. Listen, Nero texted. Miles interrupted, said there's something going on in the dorm. We should go back. Before I could even finish my sentence, Miles grabbed my wrist and pulled me along. He snatched up the bag of snacks with his other hand, and marched off so fast, I barely had time to catch my breath. He didn't stop until we were back in the dorm. I swear, he was unbelievable. Would it have killed him to let me say something first? After we got back, I decided I had to explain things properly. It wouldn't be right to leave that freshman hanging. Since Nero knew just about everyone, I described the guy's looks and major. He caught on pretty quickly. "Why are you looking for him?" Nero asked. "I just want to talk to him, clear things up." Miles, who had been silent the whole time, suddenly exploded. "You're still planning to add him? You seriously like that kind of guy? He's not even built as well as you are. That's your type?" Both Nero and I froze. Nero reacted first. "Whoa, hold up, Miles. You and Noah are close, sure, but that doesn't give you the right to act like he's cheating on you. You're not even dating him. You can't stop him from seeing whoever he wants." Miles looked mortified. "You're right. I'm sorry. I got carried away. Something's wrong with me lately. I'm gonna go run a few laps and cool off." A message popped up later that evening. "Club gathering tonight. Last one before finals, everyone come if you can." I saw it on my way back to the dorm. Even though I really didn't want to go, he'd already said that much. Not going would have just made me look rude. "Nero, can you take my books back to the dorm? I've got a dinner gathering tonight. I'll probably be back late." Sure. If I'd known what Nero was going to say to Miles afterward, I would never have asked him to help me carry anything. The club gathering wasn't anything special. Mostly people hanging out in little groups, drinking, chatting with their own friends. I didn't go to club events very often, so I didn't really know many people, but somehow, there were plenty of people who wanted to talk to me. Most of them, of course, wanted to ask about Miles and me. Back when everything between us seemed normal, I had no idea that so many people were shipping us. Only after we'd started keeping our distance, did I realize how many people had been watching us all along. But now, there wasn't anything between us anymore. I explained that much, and everyone quickly lost interest and drifted away. I had 2 glasses of wine, and since the room felt stuffy, I decided to step outside for some air. I had just reached the corner of the alley, when someone suddenly grabbed my hand, and pulled me inside. I didn't even have time to struggle. The familiar scent hit me instantly. That clean, warm smell that only Miles had, mixed with the faint edge of alcohol. "Miles, you've been drinking." It wasn't until I saw Nero's message that I finally understood what was going on. He'd texted. "I might have told him you went out on a date with that freshman. He probably thought you were gonna say yes and took off after you. Be careful, lol. Really? Couldn't he have sent that before Miles came looking for me?" One hand on Miles's shoulder, I quickly texted Nero back with the other, then put my phone away and frowned at Miles. "Why were you drinking?" Even sober, Miles was like an overexcited puppy. Now that he'd been drinking, he was even more like one. Especially the way he was looking at me. Those bright, shining eyes. As if he actually thought I was his owner or something. I pressed my lips together and turned his head to the side. "Don't date him, okay?" he muttered. "That's it? Why not, Miles? Who are you to tell me that? Why can't I date whoever I want?" I looked at him, half wanting to push him into saying it. I knew Miles had always considered himself straight, just like he'd said before, but maybe it was more that he'd never really met someone he liked enough to question that. Now that someone he did like had appeared, he didn't know how to deal with it, so I was willing to give him time to figure it out, to understand, to accept it, but I wasn't going to spend all my time waiting. If he could figure out his feelings, then we could move forward, but if he never could, then when graduation came, I'd say goodbye without hesitation. Because I just don't want you to," he stammered. Miles twisted his hands awkwardly, like he was forcing the words out. "Why not? Why does your not wanting to mean I can't date someone else? Miles, don't you think that's a bit much?" Maybe my tone was too sharp, because he suddenly looked panicked. I'd already been outside too long. People inside would probably come looking soon. I turned to head back, but Miles grabbed my hand again. He looked torn, conflicted. I don't even know what's wrong with me lately. I can't stand seeing you with anyone else. I don't want you to date anyone. Can't we just stay the way we were? We were fine before, weren't we? I know everything about you, and you know me too. Why can't we just stay together like this? After graduation, we can rent a place together, or move into my house if you want. There's plenty of room. I'm never getting married anyway, so you won't have to worry about anyone else coming between us. Wouldn't that be perfect? I turned to look at him. I don't think it would. Just because you don't want a relationship, doesn't mean I don't. Noah, since when did you turn into such a lovesick fool? Miles, you're the one with the problem here. Have you even stopped to think about it? What exactly you feel for me? Do friends really act the way we do? You're friends with Nero too. Do you want to put your arm around him all the time? Call him baby? Live with him for the rest of your life? Miles froze, his face blank for a moment. I don't know what I feel for you. I'd run out of patience. I grabbed him by the collar, and pulled him close. It's simple. Look at me. Do you want to kiss me? If I'd known Miles was the kind of person who would take that literally, I never would have challenged him like that. He bent down, close enough that I could feel his breath. His eyes flickered over my face, and stopped at my lips. Then I watched him swallow, like he was staring at something he couldn't resist. But he didn't move, didn't say a word. So maybe I'd been wrong. I loosened my grip on his collar, and in that moment, warmth brushed against my lips. It was Miles. My hand reacted before my brain did. A sharp slap landed on his face. He pulled back, startled, and I stood there, furious and shocked. I couldn't believe he'd actually done it. While I was still wondering whether he even liked me, he'd already kissed me. I almost laughed out of disbelief. I wiped my mouth hard, while Miles, hand to his cheek, wasn't even angry. If anything, he was smiling, like he was savoring the memory. This idiot. Don't tell me he's actually enjoying that kiss. Wait, baby, I get it now, he said suddenly. I was so angry I could have screamed. If he still couldn't figure out his feelings after this, I really would have killed him. Metaphorically, of course. Congratulations, I snapped. You've finally figured it out. And congratulations again, because now you've completely ruined your chances. I turned to leave, but Miles blocked my way. Why? I know it now. I like you. All that weirdness these past weeks, it's because I couldn't stand seeing you with anyone else. Who told you to kiss me? Miles blinked, confused. Didn't you just tell me to? I said, do you want to kiss me? Honestly, how could anyone be so shameless? I was asking if you wanted to kiss me, not telling you to actually do it. Is there really a difference? He said. That was it. I'd had enough. I shoved Miles away and tried to leave, but he grabbed my wrist, refusing to let go. While we were struggling, a girl suddenly peeked around the corner. I recognized her. She was from our club. Hey, senior. So this is where you've been. You two look busy, so I'll tell the president you're not coming back. Bye. Wait, no, I am coming back. But she didn't even give me the chance to explain. Neither did Miles. Before I knew it, my back was against the wall again, and he was grinning like an idiot. So that's it, he said. I'm gay. I like you. No wonder I always want to be close to you. No wonder it drives me crazy when someone else talks to you. Well, congratulations, I guess. You finally figured it out, I said flatly. So, does that mean we're together now? I shot him a glare. What are you talking about? I never said I liked you, and I never said I'd be with you. But I kissed you, he said seriously. I should take responsibility. I don't need you to take responsibility, I snapped. Then, maybe you should take responsibility for me, he muttered. Because of Miles' ridiculous interference, we missed the dorm curfew that night and had no choice but to stay at his place near campus. You live this close to school, I said, slipping off my shoes. So why stay in the dorms at all? He handed me a pair of slippers, smiling. Because I didn't want to be away from you, sweetheart. I regretted opening my mouth immediately. Don't call me that again, I warned. Why not? Because only my boyfriend gets to call me that. Miles followed me down the hallway. Then why can't I be your boyfriend? I stopped and turned to face him. I reached up, brushed my hand against his cheek, and then pinched it, hard. Because I don't need a guy who forces a kiss on me. He covered his cheek, looking pitiful but saying nothing. I thought he'd be upset or angry after my rejection, but he wasn't. When I came out of the shower later, he was sitting on the couch, smiling at his phone like an idiot. Curious, I walked up behind him, and saw what he was typing. Unbelievable. He was messaging his friends. I've fallen for someone. He's a guy. Guess that makes me gay. From now on, I should keep some distance from you all, or else he'll feel insecure. How could anyone be that confident? I reached down and grabbed his ear. Delete it, I said, or whatever chance you think you have with me, will be gone. Miles panicked and deleted the message immediately. Okay, I won't send it again. But, can you at least give me a chance to win you over? I didn't answer directly, just hummed, which he took as a yes. The next day, when we returned to the dorms, Nero gave us a knowing look. So the idiot finally figured himself out, he said, glancing at Miles. I sighed and nodded. Congratulations, Nero laughed. You finally got what you wanted. But I wasn't as happy as I thought I'd be. Part of me still wondered, did Miles truly like me, or was it just habit, confusion, comfort? So I decided to wait. Watch. If his feelings were just a temporary impulse, then I wouldn't get too deep into it. But if it was real, then maybe we could take that step forward together. And Miles proved it with his actions. If before he'd been holding back, unsure of himself, now, with his feelings clear, he was completely unrestrained. He called me baby all the time, leaned on me every chance he got, and clung to me like gravity itself. You smell so good, he said once. We use the same shampoo, but yours smells better. I pressed a hand against his forehead. Keep sniffing me like that, and I'm taking back all the points you've earned lately. He straightened up immediately, looking like a kid caught stealing cookies. Then can I smell you again later? Just a little? I rolled my eyes. You're like a dog, Miles. But honestly, maybe that was part of why I liked him. By the time spring came the following year, Miles and I were officially together. One evening, as we talked about everything that had happened, I asked, I gave you so many hints back then. How did you not realize I liked you? He looked up from his desk and came over, wrapping his arms around me from behind. It's not that I never thought about it, he said softly, but you never said you liked guys. And I didn't know anyone who was gay, so I just thought, we were close. That's all. And when I started distancing myself, you didn't feel anything. He blushed, eyes darting away. I did. I used to dream about you sometimes. Weird dreams. You were always close. It made me feel things. I gave him a look, and he turned even redder. I thought you'd found out somehow, and you were disgusted with me, he admitted quietly. So I tried to pretend nothing was wrong. But when I learned you liked guys, I wanted to tell you everything. Then more stuff happened, and I got scared you'd reject me. I hadn't realized how much he'd gone through, quietly. So why'd you finally confess? I asked with a half-smile. If I hadn't pushed you that day, would you still be calling me your bro? Miles laughed and pulled me closer. Probably not. Brothers don't hold each other like this. Brothers don't get jealous either, I teased. He grinned. Exactly. Then, softer, almost shyly, he added, I love you. Outside, spring sunlight spilled through the window. Inside, warmth lingered between us, gentle, steady, and real.